name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Cole Ross.
And you're listening to Best Quality Vacuum, the Duckfeed show that's talking about Breaking Bad, El Camino, Better Call Saul, the future in the Mike house.
Mike's house.
Yeah. Don't you run on those stairs, children.
Oh, you went with like a dad. You know, like a single dad sitcom. I was thinking I was doing sitcom, but I was doing more of like after All in the Family, there was Archie's Place.
I know that name, but I don't know what happens in Archie's Place. As far as I know, that takes place in his mind or something. I actually don't know.
It's like the coma seasons of Archer. Yeah.
It's a real Herman's Head situation. I don't know. What is Archie's Place?
Oh, he starts up a bar.
Oh.
he starts up a bar. They kept Carol O'Connor, but like everybody else was relegated to like guesting on occasion.
Okay.
You know,
it's a meathead, hey! And then a meathead would walk in. I got you.
And then I assume you said some really bigoted shit.
Meathead, come to take our jobs, are you, Archie? No.
Archie, no, it's 2023. Why are you still alive? The
sequel, Archie After Dentist, that goes to really dark places. He just really lets it all. You've seen Archie with the filter. Archie only said about 1/3 of the things he wishes he could say. Truly is one of history's greatest monsters, that character.
This week we're talking about Mandala. This episode was directed by Adam Bernstein and written by George Mastras, and it originally aired on May the 17th of 2009.
Yeah, an important episode.
Mm-hmm.
And a real, last episode was all Calm Before the Storm. You know, this is kind of lurching tension. It seems like, because this begins with a murder, we're like right off to the races, but this episode is also a little slow until it literally ends on a cliffhanger. With just like, fuck, man, things are going bad.
Yeah. It's accelerating. It's kind of like playing Bowser in Mario Kart, where it's like nothing, and then the fastest thing and also unstoppable.
Yeah. As long as you don't get hit.
Well, yeah.
It's So this is the very beginning of this rest in peace combo.
Rip. He got hit in the cup.
Yep, he did. He got to get hit in the cup. So they owe him a new cup, and they ruined his shirt. He can't do that. And this fucks up everything.
Yes.
This is a load-bearing bullet. This makes Jesse get hard. Go back into meth to deal, which drags Jane down, which is a really tragic thing to have happen. And this very hard to watch.
Yeah.
And hugely important episode because we're going to be introduced to Gustavo Fring, played by the great Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah, it's very funny. The scenes where Walt goes and is, waiting for the meetup, and everybody in the entire restaurant is just an Albuquerque, local actor that they got in for extras. And then just there in a yellow shirt, hey, is that bugging out from Do the Right Thing? Yeah. Oh, okay. So he either he's fallen on very rough times or this is our guy.
This is our guy. It's the commentary or the podcast on this is not very good on this episode after last episode being pretty good. So much so that they keep calling him Gustavo Frings. And at one point, Vince Gilligan asked for correction. And the writer, George Mastras, is like, yeah, it's Gustavo Frings. And it was like, what is happening?
Somebody got fired for that blunder.
Like, is this a Berenstain Bears situation? Like, has it always been Gustavo Frings and we're all wrong? No. The writers forgot who they made.
I mean, maybe they didn't know that he was going to be this cosmologically important person for this version of Albuquerque, right?
Yeah. Well, I assume they at least had some idea because they cast a real...
They cast a real guy. Yeah.
They cast a real guy. So they had to know they had some plans for him. But Gus Fring, incredible.
Yeah, it's almost not worth. I mean, we'll talk about his performance in the introduction later, which I think is amazing and really sets the tone for him.
Yes.
But I almost don't want to say too much now because we're going to be talking about this performance and this character for a very long
for
time.
5 years.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous. And it's a real good place to be. We get Mike real soon.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be real. Yeah. We're rounding out our cast. It feels real good.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Skylar is flirting and getting in way deeper with Ted and learning about Ted's problems.
Yeah.
Here she is the rev up, the cold rev up to IFTing him, minting newly fresh bored IFTs.
Bored Teds.
Yeah, bored Ted.
All my Teds gone.
Yeah. Who stole my Teds? All my IFT wallet gone.
Oh man, just Skylar can't get away from these morally ambiguous people. These men.
She's such a fucking nerdy ass narc. Like she would in. Why does she live with like all these men or like all these men? Like, cause it's from meth, sure. Like all the murdering. Yeah. But like tax fraud, pot, like every crime is equal in Skylar's eyes.
I gotta tell you though, if she doesn't want to be implicated in something she could go down for as somebody who bears fiduciary responsibility, she would be in the crosshairs of this. Ted is trying to make her complicit in something that she could go to jail for a very long time.
It's not so much that she's just like, this is too risky, I want out. It's her posture that acts like this is morally wrong.
Yeah.
That I think is silly. Like her shock and
Ted.
response to it. Ted, I can't, this, and I'm like, it's tax fraud, you fucking narc. You weirdo square.
I don't know. I'm down for small businessmen paying their taxes. If I gotta, they gotta.
I'm down for it. I'm not saying that Ted is virtuous. I'm just saying if you found out okay, imagine you like to mint an IFT.
Okay.
You're like way into a Ted, right? And you found out Ted did this. Like, I don't know. It'd be like, oh man. All right. No, I can't imagine having visceral judgment.
Yeah.
For a law, breaking a law that is this abstract.
Yeah, I suppose. I think the fact that this is existing alongside the crimes that are, happening elsewhere in the show kind of, that is the real thing that I think, I don't know, I think undercuts the stakes of the whole Ted thing, of the Beneke fraud that's going on, and makes this clang a little bit weird, I mean, and we'll talk about the scene as well, but like Ted turns into Walt. Like she has run into this exact same self-justifying kind of stuff before too. Like
specifically, he doesn't lie. He self-justifies, but he says what's going on. He lies at first, but then he comes clean.
Yeah.
But also, when caught.
Well, yeah. We'll talk about stuff when we get there.
Yeah, it is interesting. I like parts of where that plot goes. I like that it allows Skylar to get scheming. Like ultimately, it's what brings Skylar into the fold, or the first step on that. Like her becoming complicit in Ted's bullshit to protect Walt is what's going to eventually lead to their weird power couple relationship, that they nearly end the series on until, Walt takes it too far.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I just think it's lame to be concerned about tax fraud.
Yeah.
It'd be like being concerned about shoplifting. Like what do you do if you see a shoplifter? Nothing.
Well, we saw how she dealt with the shoplifting.
Yeah. It's exactly, that's true. Yeah. And you're not supposed to. Keep your mouth shut. It's none of your business. Like why you're not being paid to be a cop. Don't be a cop.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some production detail that we can kind of learn about specific scenes. The podcast doesn't have a whole lot. The wiki doesn't have a whole lot. Yeah. It's a really important episode, but it's not full of trivia, I guess.
Yeah.
And behind the scenes stuff.
There's only one big, like, how'd they do that kind of thing.
Well, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
It's so funny because like finding out that that's practical, I'm like, you went through a lot of work to make something that looks like green screen. It doesn't, I don't know how a practical effect looks this fake.
I shouldn't be surprised to learn that it's practical. I should be surprised to learn that it's green screen. That's the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah. Not the other way around.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. We start off with this very kind of leisurely cold open with this young boy riding around a vacant lot on his bike. A lot of camera tricks, like camera from the perspective of his wheels. While Combo is on the corner dealing.
Yeah. and a car with these two angry looking guys roll up.
Yeah.
These are specific dealers. We're going to follow a full story with them.
Yes. Yeah. It's worth noting, I feel because of being a shitty white guy, I feel uncomfortable saying this. These are Latino men.
Mm-hmm.
This is important.
Yes.
For whose turf this is and everything.
Yeah.
So it's not a non sequitur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they roll up and mad dog him, and Combo, smartly lifts up his shirt, says like, "Hey, don't try anything. I've got a gun." Right.
Yeah.
So they pull to a corner and watch him from a distance. While the kid just very it's ominous even in the presentation before you realize what's going on. The kid is circling around him like a fucking
He's
shark.
doing Mario Galaxy.
Yeah.
Oops, around, but Combo is a planet.
That's not a very nice thing to say.
No, like one of the small planets. So Mario Galaxy has some of the smallest planets in the world. But Combo gets nervous, because the guys pull away and then they turn back. So he calls Skinny Pete, gets his voicemail, and the two guys honk their horn.
Mm-hmm.
This is a signal.
Yeah, a signal.
He's got his eyes on them, thinking they're going to do something.
And he hears a gun cocking behind him and turns around just in time for this young boy. We're going to learn more about him later. This young boy to shoot him in the cup.
Yep. And then threw the cup into his body.
Yes.
He tries to run, and then the kid empties his gun into him and collapses on the street. The kid is scared as hell.
Oh, yeah.
Having just shot a man.
Yeah. And he also, kid, that could be anything. This is like an 8-year-old kid.
Yeah. That's worth pointing out. It's also, so we talked about this episode is called Mandala. The reason it's called that is because it ends with a death and begins with a life.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next episode has a death.
Yes.
And it's a circle of life. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Here. So we go over to Walt and Skylar. They're in the oncologist office with a consulting surgeon. And they're saying hey, we have options now. We can do a lobectomy.
No.
Now. Your tumor has shrunk. Let's cut it out.
Yeah.
Typically, they don't do this.
No.
Usually, once you've had a bunch of radiation, you are too weak here. But this does happen sometimes. George Mastras, his brother is an oncologist, so they use him as a consultant on a lot of this stuff. This does happen sometimes, and because if they don't, this cancer is just going to spread. Yeah, it's in remission, but you don't get rid of it. It's a cancer.
It's not dead. It's sleeping. No.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Skylar thinks that this is too aggressive. But the surgeon says basically what we just said. It's going to continue to spread if we don't do this. The hang up is that this isn't just aggressive. It would cost anywhere between $170,000 and $200,000.
Yes. Most of that is, the surgeon will write off what they can, but it's pretty expensive. I think the surgeon that they bring in, I think this might be one of the dads from Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah, he's a guy. I think he also played a surgeon or a doctor on The Sopranos. He's you will recognize him. He's like a character actor.
Yeah. He's always a joy.
Yeah.
They'll give him some time to think it over it, but Walt immediately says, "We'll do it."
Yeah.
Skylar is not happy about it. Skylar wanted to talk about this, and he's just like, "No, I think it's the right thing to do."
Mm-hmm.
No. And they go to book the surgery. They're going to book it sooner, but the baby's due.
Right.
So they book it for 4 weeks so Walt could be there on his feet for the birth of his daughter and on his back for all of the and then
the
at
hard
that point
stuff,
nothing
the actual
happens.
work.
Yeah. At that point the baby's basically fine. It's going to come out of the pussy and go to college. So it's okay if Walt's recovering in the hospital.
It's fine.
He's gonna march out.
Don't hold her too close. You don't want to press a baby up against a scar.
No, So the idea is he won't be out specifically for that.
Right. Yeah. Doesn't matter anyway. We're going to see at the end of this episode. Walt is checking his drop phone at the school, sees that he has 14 messages from Jesse, obviously calling in a panic about this horrible news that he's gotten.
Yeah.
Walt calls him back and just says hey, Combo's dead. And Walt says the very worst thing that you could say in this situation. Which one is he?
Yeah. And it's worth noting Walt isn't joking about it.
No,
that's not a gag. He's not saying that, Walt will big time and manipulate Jesse and say things like that on purpose. This isn't that.
Yeah.
This is just absolutely tactless bullshit.
Yeah.
But it's not malicious bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't care. It's revealing of a deep character flaw.
Yeah.
That these people were literally nothing to him.
Mm-hmm. They just didn't
and they were
count.
Jesse's friends. He had to hire his friends.
Yeah.
He didn't know anybody else. And Jesse just says, I know you didn't just say that, and hangs up.
Yeah.
Mid-sentence, like worst possible thing.
Yeah. Jesse's at his apartment with Skinny Pete and asks like, hey, what's the word on the street? Like, what's the situation? There are no names coming out. Like nobody is saying anything about who did this.
Yep. Skinny Pete says, hey, why'd you make us expand? What did you expect?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't our territory. Jesse doesn't have an answer. He was pressured into doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Skinny Pete says, you know what? I'm out.
Yeah.
Combo's dead. Badger's laying low in California. I'm on probation. I can't get involved in this.
Yeah.
And Jesse says, hey, we're right on the verge of making a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do this. He channels Walt.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a minute. And he's like, listen, we don't, he's straight with them.
Yeah.
Like, we do not have the street cred to survive this.
No. It breaks the news. Like, yeah, like just people know that you didn't kill Spooge, right? Madame Spooge copped to it, and they didn't tell Jesse because they like him.
'Twas Madame Spooge what did the crime. People say upon the street. 'Twas Madame Spooge.
Up and down the boulevards.
Spooge, yeah.
Skinny Pete's actor is acting the hell out of this. Like,
he does great.
This is he's always really good and likable, but like, I mean, even when he's asking like, what did you expect, man? Like, it's kind of heart wrenching because these are two friends talking about this colossal fuck up. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it's real good. And Jesse's like, why didn't you tell me that everyone knows I didn't kill Spooge? And he's like, because we like you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great moment. Like tons of very human. Skinny Pete says, I'm sorry, I'm really out.
Yeah.
And leaves. So we cut to Walt and Jesse in Saul's office, and Walt calls Combo's death a setback.
Yeah.
And they start bickering about it, and Saul stops him.
Yeah.
At this point, and he's like, let's get down to base principles here. Can this shooting be traced back to you?
Right.
He starts getting information about it.
Right. Just trying to figure out a path forward, which Walt and Jesse are incapable of doing. And they say no, we have no reason to believe that. And then Saul is like, hey, so Walt, your health situation, and Walt kind of stumbles, like he can't even really, deliver the news that things are looking good. Right.
Yeah. Yep. It's embarrassing for him because again, he planned to die.
Yeah.
So Saul says, listen, we got to call this what it is. It's an occupational hazard. A drug dealer getting shot. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, say it's been known to happen.
Yeah.
How much inventory do you have on you? And they have 38 pounds. You told us to make hay while the sun was up. And Saul, ghoulish as Walt, this is full Saul Goodman mode. There's no humanity left here. And it's before any of his redemption, is just like dollar signs.
Yeah.
Like a firefighter seeing a fire, an apartment fire. He's so excited.
Oh, man.
I can't wait to get in there and make some money. He says, you guys are sitting on a gold mine. Look on the bright side.
Yeah. And Walt says like, all right, well, yeah, but we can't sell it. Like we need to actually move this. This meth is worthless to us. And Saul kind of reads them the riot act saying like, hey, we need to break this news to you. You guys suck at dealing meth. You should not be trying to do this all yourselves, which is true.
Yeah, absolutely true. Walt says we're not going to do another distributor. Because there was Tuco. Mm-hmm. And Saul says, listen, we're not talking about some tattooed speed freak. We're talking about a businessman. Somebody ships out of town, been doing this for 20 years, never been caught.
Yeah.
Do you know somebody's like that? Well, let me say I know a guy who knows another guy. Maybe I can try to get a meeting.
Right.
And
I had to go and do a search. Both of my own memories of Better Call Saul and also just a Google search. Does Saul ever meet Gus? No.
Mm-hmm. No. Well, it's interesting. When he says a guy, another guy, that's a weird, I'm not going to send him a sense of that.
Yeah.
But he knows Mike.
Yeah.
He knows a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah.
Is what it actually is.
He probably thinks it's Mike and then Victor and then, or Victor or Tyrus and then Gus.
Yeah. Even though by now in the chronology, like he knows Mike really well and Mike knows Gus.
Yes,
really well.
This is true.
So Victor is a weird Victor and the other guy, Tyrone, Tyrus. Yeah, Tyrus, his weirdos. Socially incapable.
Socially incapable staring goons.
Yeah. Walt says, what's this guy's name? And Saul admits like he doesn't actually know.
Yeah.
He hasn't met him, but I understand he's something like you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a little bit like you. So Jesse and Jane are at Jesse's apartment watching motocross, which is a great time, by the way. Extreme sports are a great thing to watch on TV. And just saying it's fun, man. Watch people do Tony Hawk tricks.
I was wondering how serious you were about that.
No, super serious. Like imagine watching a baseball game when you could watch somebody do Tony Hawk shit.
Okay, yeah. In relative terms, yes.
Yeah. So Jesse, you know, is real upset. You know, he's in his head. Jane, you know, he's like, hey, listen, you know, you got to bounce.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's some stuff you don't know about me. And she says, oh, that you're a drug dealer, you know, because she you know, pays in cash.
He's surprised that she put this together. Yeah. And he comes clean saying like, hey, I got one of my best friends killed. Like, this is, I'm in a really bad way. You gotta go. And, you know, this is, I think, to Jesse's credit, which is, you know, I am too weak to not do this, and I cannot implicate you in it. You need to leave.
He tries.
Yeah.
He tries pretty hard.
Yeah.
Here. Which is, it's heartbreaking. Like this whole thing is very sad.
Yeah.
Addiction is sad.
Yes.
You know, I don't want to put you in danger. And she's like, well, you can come with me to a meeting, you know, and he says, no, you know, that's not gonna work. He's like, well, let's go do something. And he's like, no, and she says, this isn't going to make you feel better, but he's like, I gotta, you know, I gotta go.
It's kind of all he's got.
This is what's going to happen. He goes to the bedroom. Jane's about to leave, and there's right there money on the table, right? Like, you're always an addict, you know, so she stops and turns around. Like, yeah, I would like to do drugs.
Yeah.
And this is the excuse.
I remember how drugs feel. Yeah.
So it's the morning where we're over at Pollos Hermanos.
Yeah.
Here. I'm a big enough dork that if we I would love to go to Albuquerque and go to the restaurant this is based on.
Same.
Just because it would be really surreal. Like just to be sitting there, you know. Someday I'll have to do that tour.
Yes.
You know, so it's fun to see it. This is a fun set. We get a lot of fun scenes here.
Yeah.
You know, first time.
Yeah. And Walt is waiting for a meeting with his distributor. We say Pollos Hermanos. It's a fast food chicken restaurant with a very fun
Chicken Brothers.
Yeah. Very fun logo of two chickens doing a contra pose.
Yeah. It's two chickens about to go fight Double Dragon. It's great.
Yeah. He looks around and he doesn't see anybody who kind of like matches his expectation. You know, he thinks that this is this place was chosen because it's in public. You know, just go to Taco Bell, right?
Yeah. And Gus is in the background. We see Gus. You know, we know who he is. Jesse joins him eventually, and he's late and he's on something. You know, and he's super high. Like he's like, you know, man, this guy gets to know our names. We don't know what his name's like, just, you know, not taking the full context.
Yeah. He's sweaty and jittery and, you know, it's pretty bad and pretty clear. The manager, Gus, walks over, asks them, hey, do you need anything? And they send him away because that's what you do when the manager comes by.
Yeah. Cause they didn't think they did need anything. You know, Jesse, changes tacks. He's super pissed at Walt, but he's high. So it's all being deflected. Yeah. Right. Like he's not going to confront Walt in this situation, but he's taking out his anger. You know, this is unfair. I don't get you, man. You know, last week you said you're out, but now you're all about getting this hookup made, you know, and Jesse knows the answer to this. Yeah. You know, Walt's like, yeah, we have 40 pounds of meth. We were just in Saul's office and figure this out. Jesse is sublimating his anger.
Yes. Yeah.
You know? But he's insightful in this. He eventually says like, yeah, but what about after those 50 pounds? You're just going to come up with some other new magic number. Yeah. You know, oh, I got bills, man. I got to make more. Like you're just going to keep pushing this. Yeah. He's got this clarity in this moment with no filter.
Yeah. He knows that Walt is going to keep on taking him on this ride, and is really, really bitter about it.
Yeah. If only he knew what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much worse in store, my friend. Walt says like things have changed now. And Jesse says, yeah, they have. We got a guy killed.
Yeah.
This whole thing's bullshit. And he gets up and leaves.
Yeah. So pretty rough.
Yeah.
This is where Walt is instead of at his wife's last ultrasound. She's in there. Yes. She's alone, getting this, man, like those high quality ultrasounds are really creepy to me.
Oh, the whatever the gene is that looks at an ultrasound picture and sees human baby.
Oh no, I got nothing.
I do not have it.
No.
Yeah, it looks like a fucking cultist in Darkest Dungeon 2. The baby suxacules are so through the roof that I cannot abide those little slugs.
Yeah, it's like somebody pointing at a QR code and saying, "Ooh, there's the penis." Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's a lot like a bio QR code.
Yeah, it's like a big pixelated thumbprint. Like, oh, he's going to be a football player. Are you out of your goddamn mind?
Are you talking like what kind of jobs do you think this blue spun like smudge is going to have? It's like a Rorschach test.
Yeah.
And then people cut them out and put them on their fridge.
Yeah.
And it's just like, here's some abstract pixel art I've done.
Mm-hmm.
It's no good. Walt arrives. He blames him being late on traffic. And they're going to schedule a C-section, because of the last birth that Skylar had was tough on her. They're going to do it on Friday the 13th, but then they shunt it to Monday.
Right. Yeah. And on the parking lot, Skylar says like, all right, well, I'm going to go to work. And Walt is immediately questioning her about this. Like, shouldn't you be?
It's 4:00.
Yeah. Shouldn't you be resting? There's only an hour left. Yeah.
Yeah. Like any reasonable workplace is not going to make you go back from a doctor's appointment that you scheduled at 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she says she has to. They're throwing a birthday party for Ted. She's getting the cake.
Mm-hmm.
And Walt is suspicious. Why you? And because I said I would.
Mm-hmm.
She's deflecting blame, even though the flirts are happening.
Yeah. Cut over to Jesse's place. He gets back and his apartment is a wreck. Man, the way that Jesse ruins hotel room, just ruins every place that he stays.
Yeah, he's like a Promethean from Old World of Darkness. Like he just has this aura of like beer bottles and cigarette butts.
Yeah.
That just follows him everywhere.
Yeah. I said hotel room because I was thinking of the hotel room from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah. It basically turns everything into that. Yeah. He's like King Midas, but for cigarette butts and scudge. Jesse goes, and I love, there's a great little acting choice here. When he comes in and sees it, he's reminded of what he's done.
Yeah.
There's this like absolute look of pain on his face where it's like, I got to go wake up my girlfriend who I turned back into a junkie.
Yeah.
Just honestly, one of the worst things you can do to somebody, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's only kind of his responsibility, but he's feeling the guilt.
Yeah.
So he goes to go wake her up. He's like, hey, let's go to that museum, you talked about. And she says, okay, and immediately fills up a bowl.
Yeah.
She is well and truly off the wagon.
Yeah. Has to do it. And just, this is a nice little reversal where she was trying to get him out to do something. Now he is trying to do it, but drugs are in the equation. So porque no los dos.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the saddest things that, people who I have known, who have been addicted to drugs of all levels, where they can't do something without it. I remember like a friend of mine who, drank and smoked tons of pot and wanted to go see a movie at one point, and him being like, well, if I'm going to see a movie, I need to have some beers.
Do you know?
And not in a joke way.
Yeah.
Like not in like that would be fun to grab a couple beers and watch that. Just if movie, I need to have some level of intoxicant or I'm not okay.
Yeah, I can't go those 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. One of the funniest scenes in the history of the show happens here.
Yeah.
We cut over to Beneke.
Ted's arguing with a vendor on the phone when he's called out to the shop for his surprise party. It's his big birthday bash.
Yep. And then we get to the candles immediately. This woman who is very concerned about the candles
is screeching about these candles. These candles are right on the edge.
She starts out. yeah, they're getting wax everywhere. Like she starts off concerned about it, and it's a very funny performance. Every time she's in the background, she's like looks tenser than anyone's ever looked in their life. It's well observed. Like every office has somebody like this.
Yep.
You know, Ted's going to blow out the candles. He has to decide what his wish is. And he comes up with it. He blows out the candles. Or he comes with his wish, which is before he blows out the candles, which is for Skylar to sing happy birthday to him in a sexy baby way.
Yeah. Doing the Marilyn Monroe, JFK kind of deal. And she tries to demur from it, saying like, oh, I don't even look like her if I even did.
Not that I ever did, you know? Yeah. And he does the, let's all cheer.
Yeah.
Let's make her do it by cheering thing. And she does it. And it's a really uncomfortable scene.
I was expecting anyone to be extremely disturbed by this obvious sexual harassment that's happening. Nope. Everybody.
Candle Lady's not into it. If you look at her face, she's still real concerned about the candles.
Okay. She's just ambiently upset. She's not upset about this, No.
Yeah. This public foreplay.
Yeah.
That's happening here.
That admittedly had happened before, but it's and she's like right up in his face too while she does it.
Yeah. And she's wearing a real booby dress, which she started wearing, bringing the girls out because she wants to mint an IFT. Yeah. If for people who don't know, this is a reference to a thing that Marilyn Monroe did to one of our presidents. Yeah. Kennedy.
Yeah.
She sang a super sexy birthday to him. Like, was that a press thing or something? It was in a public event, so because everyone knows about it. But that probably also made everyone pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I think
they got a nationwide scale.
I think Jackie O was right there too.
Yeah. It's so sad for Jackie O.
She wasn't Jackie O at that point. Jacqueline Kennedy was right there.
Yeah. It was before she got her O. But way after her husband got his O's. Before he got the ultimate O right in the middle of his forehead.
On that cold November morn.
But yeah, so this is a weird thing in our history of one of our horniest presidents. So it's referenced that everyone loves it. He kisses her on the cheek and blows out the candles. So when we get the AMC prequel about Candle Lady, this will be the finale of that series.
So Walt's in his classroom and it's after hours and he's on the phone with Saul asking like, hey, we waited there for 2 hours, but your guy never showed up. What gives?
Yeah.
Walt was at the right place, but the contact didn't meet.
And Saul says, yeah, he did. He was there. Your vibes were off.
Yeah.
For one reason or another, he didn't want to meet with you. And with this particular individual, all you get is one shot.
Right.
Walt's furious about this. And Saul's also upset because he missed out on all this money. Yeah. He says, I will try to set something up, but don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
So Walt takes it into his own hands.
Yeah.
He goes and spends a day at the fast food restaurant at Pollos.
Yep.
Waits for everyone to leave. It's the same strategy you use when you park and you can't remember where you park. And you wait for everyone to leave, which is a thing that like I've only seen in TV shows. I know people have whole days to throw away.
Yeah. I mean, in that instance, unless the Kia boys get you, you can probably walk up and down and find it, you know?
Yeah. Eventually parking lots aren't that big. But he waits for everyone to leave. And then he notices the manager looking at him.
Yeah.
And he has one of his little bits of intuition.
Right. And goes up and asks the manager, for a Diet Coke, please, and 5 minutes of your time.
Yep. They sit down, he has Gus sit down, and Gus is playing dumb. If you have a complaint, I'd be happy to refer you to our website.
First off, them's fighting words.
I know. Refer to me to a website? What does that mean? What are you doing in that scenario exactly? But Walt presses him. Walt knows he's got him. I was told the man I would be meeting is very careful. I think we're both a lot alike in that way. Yeah. And that's what gets Gus out. Gus also has a little bit of an ego, Gus also has to big time him, and Gus is all about code switching.
Yes.
If you watch this performance, one of the things that's great about Giancarlo Esposito's performance is him going between these two demeanors and them being equally believable.
Yes.
This is a practiced alternate personality.
Yeah. And he doesn't even need to put on a hat and sunglasses to make it happen. It just happens instantly when this insult comes out. I think we might be alike in that way by being cautious. His face hardens and even the light goes out of his eyes a bit. And his voice gets very deep. Previously he was in customer service register. Now he's kind of down here and says, I don't think we're alike at all, Mr. White.
Yeah, it's great. Chilling. Perfect.
Yeah.
You are not a cautious man. Your partner was late and your partner was high. You have poor judgment. I can't work with somebody with poor judgment. How do you think I've not been caught? Walt says, you've seen the quality of my product. And Gus says, yeah, I'm told it's impeccable, but that's not the only factor.
Yeah. And, Walt, Walt does not take no kindly, just who I choose to do business with, it's not your problem, which is, completely not true. This is kind of, it's really, really setting the tenor for this relationship where Walt, from the beginning wants to think that he is on this guy's level, right?
He's found a peer, and everybody outmaneuvering Walt, him thinking he's smarter than everyone and them fucking him. This is great.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have a good answer for it.
Well, yeah. Good Gus.
He says,
asks,
Gus says,
why him?
Why him? And his answer is because he does what I say, because I can trust him. Yeah. He doesn't do what you say. Nope. You consistently have issues with Jesse. And you also cannot trust him. He's late. He was high. You have a lot of contempt for this person. Mm-hmm. This is that weird kind of familial love.
Yeah.
He has for him. And this is obviously going to come to a head in the end of season 3. Mm-hmm. But this kind of like intense adoration. Like, I have to have Jesse around. We've been through too much.
That's so weird. So I don't know. Like I read this as like it's a real diss. I trust him, and he does what I say. I feel like he does because he does what I say, and then I trust him undercuts it. I don't know. I think that I don't read the adoration into it. I believe that.
Adoration's not the right word, but there's no reason for him. He doesn't need Jesse at all anymore. Jesse was going to handle distribution. Right. That is what Gus would do. Mm-hmm. There's no reason why Walt couldn't cook meth.
Yeah.
Here, they haven't seen the super lab. They don't know that it's a 2-man job yet. Mm-hmm. Right. He wants to keep Jesse around. Yeah. Like, he feels like he owes it to him. Mm-hmm. At least in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. That's what I'm referring to.
So I guess what I'm saying is, I think that this line is him trying to say what he thinks Gus wants to hear.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. I think it would work. I think we're saying the same thing, just in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I agree that he's trying to say what Gus wants to hear. Mm-hmm. It's why is he not just being like, you're right. Fuck that guy. Yeah. His initial desire to say what Gus wants to hear, and also keep Jesse, and not just acquiesce to cutting Jesse loose.
Yeah. If he wanted to cut Jesse loose, he'd cut him loose. It's
this would be a great opportunity to do it. And Jesse wants to be cut loose. Yeah. Gus asks how much product he has on hand. He says 38 pounds, and Gus blinks. That's a lot of meth.
Yeah. Here we go. And we're going to find out in Better Call Saul. He's in a bit of he needs a W. He sunk a lot of money into this lab that hasn't come to be yet.
Yeah. Hasn't really been worked. Yeah. Walt asks, when will I hear from you? And he says, I have your numbers. And as he's leaving, he thinks for a second. He gives him a piece of advice, good advice. You can never trust the drug addict.
No.
One who is actively using.
Yes.
Like, I believe in recovery, obviously. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if somebody is addicted, they will do anything.
Yeah.
We cut over to Skylar talking with Ted about this Keller account.
Yeah.
Seeing, drips and drabs of money are going missing. And she's done the numbers, and 10% of the revenue is gone.
No.
They're underreporting.
Right. And she says, I've just started looking. I know there's going to be more based on the books that I've looked at. And Ted tries to give this explanation saying like, oh, this is bullshit. He's lying to her, saying like, oh, we have these requirement contracts. Sometimes we fall short. We just roll that over to the next one. We trust them, etc. And Skylar is just looking at him like the kid who knocked the pie off of the countertop. Like, it's just real, like, just, I can see through you when I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I don't like, I'm on the record as a Skylar liker. I don't think that Skylar does anything bad by Walt at all. I do think she comes off as powerful lame in this scene. At least just to me. She's caught him red-handed, but she's taking this this weird little cop pleasure in it. He says, oh, we've rolled it over. And she says she checked that. Pulled out all the original bills of sale, and she found a lot of transactions with no backup and Xerox copies with the dates changed, and Ted admits it. This is the difference between Ted and Walt. These men lying in her life. He goes, yeah, you got me, and she gasps, that's $1 million. That's tax evasion.
Yeah.
The most serious moral crime there can be. And Ted has his explanation. And I think this is kind of a good explanation, which is like, if I don't do this, company's on. I inherited this company. You've seen all these people. I don't want to go under and put all these people out of work. Yeah. Like, I buy that excuse up until he buys that fucking supercar. Yeah, I buy most of what Ted says.
I think that this it is this, and it is his personal ego, of wanting to be, businessman. Like, oh, I need to continue providing for these people, even if I need to commit crimes to do it. And it's like, no, you're bad at running a business, dude. Like, you can't. This is fake. Like, what do you think is going to happen if you get caught? Like, maybe the business should go under,
Yeah. I think that without that additional car information that I get later, at this point in the chronology, I'm basically team Ted on this specific issue. Like, yeah, this is better than sending all those people home without a job in the middle of a recession.
It's, it's short-sighted, I would say.
Yeah, it is short-sighted. And then he says he doesn't want to let his dad down. Please don't report this, Skylar. And Skylar says, I'm not going to turn you in, but I can't be part of it. Yeah. And she gets up to leave.
Yeah. And then we cut over to a famous scene.
Yeah. Jesse's in the apartment, ignoring all the calls he's getting. And Skinny Pete leaves a message about Combro's funeral. All his people were there. And he had this beautiful white combo coffin to match his white suit from before. I think the implication here is that Jesse paid for it. Or gave money to the family. It's like a fancy to do.
Yeah. Like the Skinny Pete even says, like, I think I've seen the Lamborghini painted like that or something.
Yeah. I've seen a Lexus with that paint job. And earlier when they were talking, he says, I'll take care of Combo's people.
Yes. Yeah.
Skinny Pete says, you missed it. I guess you had something bigger going down.
Yeah. Heartbreaking.
Super heartbreaking. Yeah. And Jane gets home with a package. And the package is like a heroin gag.
It's a kit.
It's a heroin Garden of Eden kit that she's got. Sponges, spoons, syringes. She cooks up a spoon, says, hey, like, I love to mix a little ice with it, put a little meth with it. And Jesse's very nervous. Yeah. Watching this.
He's not graduated to needle drugs yet.
Yeah. Which has got to be a real big fucking step.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I
don't like it when a doctor sticks a needle in me. Come on.
Man, hard drugs are scary. I hate this shit. They had a real recovering addict to consult on this and the steps, who was nervous about watching this, which, like, again, of course, I love him being nervous about it. He's like, what's it like?
Yeah.
He's scared. He turns into a kid, and he's like, it's cold, but that'll go away. Yeah. You'll be all right. I'll meet you there.
Yeah. Then they kiss and, she pulls the trigger.
Yep. And Jesse lies down and he floats. We get this floating scene. The Enchanted by the Platters plays on set. They were playing Fly Me to the Moon.
Yeah, I'm really happy that they didn't do that.
I'm so fucking sick of that song. It's what they do. The practical effect is he's lying on like a forklift thing, basically. It's what magicians use to levitate people. and they're levitating him up above. For all the world, it looks like green screen to me.
Yep, there's something about the lighting that makes him really feel separated from everything below, which I mean feels fine to me, because it needs to be on that lack of reality, or that kind of like fakeness feels appropriate to somebody in an altered state. To me, it's just a very it's a weird detail to find out that they put in all of that effort and it came out looking like that.
Tons of work, when they could have just done the cheaper version of it, but yeah, this is a big deal. He's done heroin and he's got an addictive personality, and heroin feels real good.
Yep.
So we cut over, Ted's waiting in his office before closing and sees Skylar come back. She's upset, but she's not leaving.
Yeah.
And she looks agonized. Here, we're going to find out why. Right. Walt is walking around his classroom while his kids take a test, and he hears a phone buzzing. This is real funny.
Yeah. At first he's like, "Hey, everybody, turn your phones off."
No phones. Yep. Everyone checks their phones, and it still happens. They all look at the ceiling. It's just like pipes,
and then it beeps. There's a little message beep. It's so good.
That's real good. And this is he got a pager, a message beep that says Pollos.
Yeah.
So he drives to the restaurant, looks around for the manager. I love the commitment to keeping bit characters. This assistant manager is going to be the assistant manager, like during several scenes, or this manager who's not the owner. This is where he gets Gus's name, and he's about to leave. We were on to Victor. Victor and Tyrus are so funny.
Yeah.
And this, what weird touches to just make like two absolutely joyless goons.
I want to know where Gus gets them.
I know. I think he got Victor after he retired from the Fine Young Cannibals. I'd like you to take a look at the lead singer of the Fine Young Cannibals.
From the Drive Me Crazy video. That is burned in my mind, because there was some kind of, how they used to sell those CDs that were like all the greatest hits of blah blah blah, and like it was 3 seconds of every music video, not of every, but like of highlighted ones as they scrolled the track list. Drive Me Crazy when it was on one of those, and the clip they chose was just a close up on that guy's face. So yeah, that's it. That's it.
But he looks just like,
very much so.
Yeah. So I imagine he retired from that band and joined Pollos.
Yeah. And just by this performance, you don't get an indication that this guy is going to be around for another season and a half or something.
And then in Better Call Saul.
And then for basically 3 years of that. Yeah.
Yep. So here's a question I have for you. So Victor stops him, tells him directions to a stop, and very specifically will not repeat it. Gives kind of complicated directions. Says 1 hour, 1.2 million. If you miss it, don't ever show your face in here again.
Yeah.
Why is this so stringent and like a game show other than the rules of drama? Like what advantage is it to Gus that he only give him the directions once, and then say, Gus, who appreciates having a mask and having a civilian life, being like, this won't happen unless you drop everything and do it right now.
Yeah.
It's always struck me as weird. Like it makes a really dramatic scene, both at the end of this episode and the beginning of the next one. It's great. It's real thrilling, but I never understood the actual motivation behind it.
I mean, somebody else would probably say it is Gus testing him, but also knowing the position and they couldn't have known this when they were writing the episode, knowing the position that Gus is in, or I mean, just even any businessman, it's 38 pounds of meth. He's given Walt, 1.2 million. So he's probably selling this for, I don't know, 10 times that. He's got expenses and stuff. Like he can only benefit by getting his hands on this product. And it would make the most sense in the world to, if he wants it, to make it as easy as possible for the handoff to be done. Right.
I would think so. It's testing. He would want a Walt that can maintain a mask. Yeah. He wants he's like, you're not a cautious man. And then makes Walt do the least cautious thing that anyone's ever done.
I mean, that was a fucking physical challenge. Like it's Double Dare.
Yeah. He double dares him to get him the meth. And it's always struck me as real silly. I almost wanted not a scene really to explain that. I think that would be weird. But I've often thought that maybe this was something where Gus told Victor to tell him, and Victor added the shit.
Oh yeah.
Like Victor is picking up or dropping off the money, and picking up the meth and everything. And Victor is the one being like, fuck you. Because Victor's kind of a dick.
Yes.
I don't know. I've always struck me as really arbitrary. To give him a double dare challenge here.
I could believe it being Victor, but I think Victor also knows what happens to people who fail Gus. So
yeah. So I don't know. It really seems contrary. It's the rules of drama, I think, is the real reason, but there's not an in-universe reason that I'm super happy with. If you're listening to this, and when we do the season 2 write in, if you have a good idea about this, that we haven't hazarded, send it in.
Yeah. So, but clock is ticking, right? He's got an hour to get pretty far away. And so he rushes out to the car and calls Jesse, who doesn't pick up. Jesse's in a nod.
He's in a heroin feud.
Yeah.
Skylar is in her office watching her screensaver. So she's come back. She's like, I was going to leave, and I'm actually, I don't want to leave. And starts having contractions. Walt speeds up, gets to Jesse's place. Jesse doesn't answer the door, and Skylar calls him. He doesn't answer. He's breaking in. This whole scene's happening very fast. And he gets a text that just says "baby coming."
He gets it when he's after he gets the meth. He breaks into the house, and Jesse's unresponsive, so he splashes him with water, saying like, "Hey, where's the meth? Where's the meth?" He hears, "Okay, it's under the sink. It's in a board under the sink in the cabinet down there." And he is loading up these 19 2-pound bags of meth into a garbage bag when he gets the "baby's coming."
Yeah, baby coming. And then we get a literal like to be continued. He has to this is some season 2.
Yeah.
Crudge a little bit. Like it's pretty literal. That he has to literally choose between meth and the new baby here. But that's what we're going to get into. Is this very thrilling race of him to either say goodbye to this deal and just be stuck with, 40 pounds of meth he'll never sell, or, see the birth of his first daughter.
And we should be clear. He makes his choice. Like he agonizes for a moment before deciding to continue packing the bag.
Yep. Yeah. Then we're going to get into the next episode to talk about that, which is a great, interesting episode as well. I think there's like moral shade to it. This whole like him not giving Jesse the money, I think is the right choice. Yeah. The guy's on heroin, man. You woke him up in a big heroin feud. It's not generally great to give a heroin addict $500,000.
He doesn't want to kill him.
Yeah. It seems bad to me, that paternal instinct. Yeah. And that's the episode.
Really picking up. It's sad that we lose Combo. I mean,
it is sad. I like Combo.
It just the dynamic with the whole crew. Like I like whenever those guys show up again. Like when we get the flashback to show how they got the RV. It is nice to see him again and see the group together like that. But yeah.
It's a good one. It's leading to good places. We're gonna get a lot of John Delancey, really excellent performance. Stuff, coming up, just like really, really wonderful. Meeting Mike. It's all good shit. Keep an eye out, or if you have things to say about season 2, rather, go to Duckfeed.tv/contact, and just mark those, as best quality vacuum. We'll be doing that response and special features episode pretty soon.
We will. If you want to help us, you can go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and give us a few bucks every month and get a bunch of extra content as well. If you like us talking about TV and movies and stuff, we've got a bonus show called Unfilmable that is about horror movies. We're about to see some horrific stuff coming up, so hop on there. You may like it. I'm pretty sure you will. It's a fun show.
Just did an episode on Final Destination 3, which is a blast.
So good.
It's very fun. And we have a bunch of other shows that are great. So Venture Brothers movie still coming. So keep an eye out for that. Orb episode. in general, just we'd appreciate it if you check some stuff out. You can also leave ratings, reviews, and tell your friends.
Please do.
About stuff.
Yeah.
And until next time, for the love of God, if you can, don't do the big drugs.
Yeah.
I understand. I have sympathy for people who are addicted. I'm not a weird, hateful next door person. My parents were drug addicts. Like, I have been around it a lot. It sucks. And if you are able to stop doing it, good for you. And I think that's a good thing to strive for.
Agreed.
So